Real talk.
Hello, welcome to the Humans Talking podcast. I'm your host FRENO, joined by Brylon. What's up, man?
Hi. Not much, man. How are you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. Another week has flown by. I don't think we had too much controversy this past week,
No, nothing happened of note at all.
which is not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was always controversy. I mean, Elon banned a bunch of journalists for showing where his plane was. Got the rock fudging numbers. There's always controversy, but none that we care about.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know the FTX guy, Berkman or whatever it was, when that whole fiasco went down and his company is like filing for bankruptcy and everyone lost billions and billions of dollars in cryptocurrency. It was ironic because I guess he was streaming or something because I think he lives in the Bahamas or somewhere.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't think they can arrest me for everything that's going on. And like the next day he got arrested and they're like trying to charge him with like 8 different types of fraud.
He's like, fuck.
And I was like, you know what? You spoke too soon. He's like, nah, I think I'll be okay. And like arrested the next day.
Yeah.
I wonder how many of those counts will stick. But yeah, he screwed a lot of people out of their money.
Yeah, well, you join the club. There's a lot of people that do that. Elon,
Yep.
probably.
Welcome to scams. Anytime a person seems to get rich quick and they're like the next Prodigy, the next Tony Stark, and it's like, all right, if they got rich so fast, either they had a really good idea or they're doing something scummy. And most of the time, it seems like they're doing something scummy that we don't find out till years later.
Yeah, I guess it'll just depend on who's the richer person, the person prosecuting.
This is true. Well, I guess we can get the depressing news out of the way first before we get into some other fun topics.
Oh, what?
Depressing, our boy Henry Cavill.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. He, James Gunn said, hey, come back. Let's do Man of Steel 2. Let's do Superman. He's like, I'm so excited to work with these guys. I guess because he's seen their other works, Guardians of the Galaxy, Suicide Squad. And he's like, yeah, I'm really excited to, come back, bring Superman to life. And then we just got the tweet the other day where he said, after speaking with James Gunn and Safran, I think is his name, is like, I'm not going to be playing Superman after all. And I'm like, my God, this guy can't catch a break. They said they wanted to, because they obviously want to reboot the whole cinematic universe, which is fine because it's pretty bad.
Really you could do at this point. Honestly.
Yeah, and they said they want to use a younger Superman, so they kind of want to, because which makes sense. If you're going to reboot, you want to get a bunch of young people so you can use them for a long time. It just sucks that Henry Cavill won't be Superman. I personally, I have a theory. I think it's kind of a publicity stunt when he put out that big tweet or that big message that he's not going to be coming back as Superman. I'm trying to read between the lines and I'm like, oh, he's not coming back as Superman. He might come back as a completely different character. That's what I'm choosing to believe.
I don't think so.
I would like to imagine he would get recast as somebody completely different, maybe not as important as, Superman.
I feel like that's a giant slap in the face, though. You play Superman, one of the most iconic characters of all time, and they're like, nah, we're going to take that away from you. You can be fucking, I don't even know, Booster Gold.
Well, he would love to just be a part of the universe. And I kind of have that theory just because Jason Momoa is going to be, they're recasting him as Lobo.
Yeah.
So it's like, they don't really seem to care. It's like, okay, you have a job still. We're just going to switch characters. And I think Momoa as Lobo is better than Aquaman anyway, in my opinion.
I think that's great. And I know that's Momoa's favorite character. I don't think Superman really, or I don't think Henry Cavill is doing that. I mean, I don't know if you saw the news after that.
Yeah.
But yesterday he announced he's executive producing and starring and creating a Warhammer universe for Amazon.
Yeah, that's going to be tight.
That's going to keep him busy.
Yeah. I have wishful thinking. I kind of hope they pull the wool over our eyes. It's like, hi, we tricked you. I'm actually coming back as like a smaller character, but I'm, kind of like a nudge to say, hey, I'm still in the universe, just not as Superman. That's what I would love to see. But yeah, like you said, he might be too busy with Warhammer. I'm just
Warhammer
wishful
is,
thinking.
I don't know if I've seen some of his interviews, but he brings up Warhammer a lot. And then
Dude's a nerd, man. He's one of us.
but he's talked about like Warhammer would be his dream project. And as a person that I think a couple podcasts ago, I was like, I don't know much about Warhammer. I've been getting into it recently. um, and I'm excited for this.
Well,
Like, I
it's a
think
whole expansive universe.
yeah, it's a massive universe. I've got a couple of books on it that been starting to read and some audio dramas and stuff. But I think that's really where his passion really lies. I mean, building an entire universe for Amazon, from movies to TV shows, and he's going to be starring in them. He's executive producing. That means he's going to be helping run, making the decisions with it. He's not going to have time to be some half-ass shitty character, in the DC universe to service their bullshit when he's already tried to do that, and he got sidelined for 5 years, 6 years, or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
why would I don't think anybody who would be the lead in a lead role in an entire universe who never gets a sequel, never gets to do anything. They constantly use body doubles and cameos for him, completely disrespect the actor, and then they're like, "You're fired." Oh, please announce that you're coming back, and then 2 months later, you're fired. And then he's supposed to come back and be like, "Oh, I'm going to be Nightwing."
It's also a slap in the face because obviously we just got the Black Adam movie, and they've been kind of teasing, making jokes like, oh, Superman can fight the Rock, and it's just like, well, you can go ahead and squash all that. Like the Superman, the Man of Steel movies are done. The Black Adam movie with the Rock is done, and I think
Patty Jenkins, Wonder Woman's done.
Yeah, it's done.
No one wants to work with the fucking Flash. They should just cancel that movie. Like, why do we need to see that now?
They've already put in the money.
Yeah, well, they had cameos with Henry Cavill that he filmed and Wonder Woman, and they canceled those. They cut those out of the movie. And then it's also weird, like they showed up in Peacemaker at the end, but the Flash was the only one. Everyone else was a body double. Just start over. Just end it. It's fine. No one cares.
Yeah, and it's funny too because The Rock, or Dwayne The Rock Johnson, he just unfollowed Warner Brothers and Black Adam from social media.
Actually, I was on Twitter earlier today, and he was like, "No, I wasn't following them in the first place."
Oh,
so it was a false statement.
Okay.
Thing, but I do think that this puts The Rock in a really bad light because apparently, before Black Adam was coming out, he was the one that was like on Twitter being like, "I'm strong arming them. They have to put Henry Cavill in there. If they want this movie,
right?
We gotta have it." So he's already claimed that he was forcing WB's hand to put Henry Cavill and put him back in the Superman role.
Yeah.
So they put him back in the Superman role only for it to get taken away and also be in like a shitty movie that no one watched. So it's almost like The Rock started this whole thing. Like
I appreciate him for trying to bring him back. He recognized who he was. He's like, hey, bring this guy back. He's been doing nothing for 5 years. Bring him in. Put him in this movie.
Yeah, but if he had just left it alone, and we hadn't seen Superman from 5 years, and they're like, I'm not Superman anymore, it wouldn't have been a big deal. The fact that he made them put him in the movie,
got everybody hyped,
forced him to announce that he was back as Superman, and then only for 2 months later for it to be canceled, and then him also fudging the numbers on the Black Adam sequel. So it was like, no, we sold a lot, we made profit. It's just he just looks really shitty. Also, news came out that he was offered to do a cameo in the Shazam movie, and he said no.
Who, Superman or Black Adam?
Black Adam.
Oh.
And he said no. So that puts him in a bad light because it's like, you're his villain anyway. So really what you're saying is you don't want to do it in service of the universe. You just want to do it because it's the Rock show now. You're trying to make it the DC the Rock show where you fight Superman and shit instead of actually doing your service to the character.
It was very jarring watching the Black Adam film and not have Billy Batson come up once. I'm just like, okay, y'all like have the exact same superpowers. Y'all, your powers come from the exact same source. Y'all should be aware of each other. And there's just no mention of it. So it's just like, even if there was going to be a sequel to Black Adam, like there was no build up to Billy Batson over in America. So it's just like it was just like, okay, this is so many missed opportunities.
Yeah, it just looks really bad for The Rock, because honestly, none of this drama wouldn't have been that big of a deal if he hadn't have announced it and forced him to come back, because it had already been 5 years. It had just been, Justice League, Snyder Cut, Justice League comes out, and then he's like, all right, well, I'm done now. That would have been the end of it. But the fact that they made him announce it and he showed up in a movie just really doesn't look good. But whatever. I think Warhammer is more exciting of a property anyway. I never really cared that much for DC characters other than, a handful like Batman. But Superman's cool, Green Lantern's fine, whatever. The movies have never been me. And I mean, they've all been fine enough. I know I do a lot of hyperbole. They're just not, I watch them every once in a while, but they're nothing miraculous or spectacular or anything like that.
Which is very sad that that's the case.
Well, I mean, that's why they have to reboot everything. It sucks because a lot of those actors are great in their role, and I do think Henry Cavill would be an amazing Superman for a longer period if he had gotten something to do.
Yeah.
Which also, they mentioned that right after the Shazam thing, they were starting, the leadership at Warner Brothers were starting to pull up for another Man of Steel 2 movie with Stephen Knight, which is the guy who started Daredevil. And then apparently they were going to do Brainiac as the villain.
Yeah. I saw that they were going to use Brainiac, and I'm like, well, so many missed opportunities. And y'all, to be honest, they did everything way too late. They put him on the back burner for years, and it's just...
There should have been a Man of Steel 2 immediately after.
The entire Warner Brothers structure of how they do things is literally why they went bankrupt and got bought out by Discovery. It's like every business decision they made was bad and just not smart. It was wrong. And now we have this big clusterfuck. So it's just like, no one should be surprised at how far they've fallen. Like, they had so many opportunities to do things right, and they just never did. So now we got James Gunn and that Safran guy coming in to, reboot the universe, and hopefully it comes out well. They've done a lot of good stuff in the past. So,
I mean, James Gunn knows how to make a movie, and he does have the experience of, he's literally friends with Kevin Feige, so he's watched him develop 2 decades worth of movies from Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Right.
So he knows what the smart plays are, how to do this right.
Mm-hmm.
He talks to him on a regular basis. They're friends, so and it's not like the plebes down here where it's like Marvel versus DC. They're like, we're in a business, Leo. Let's make some money.
Yeah.
How are you doing this? Give me some advice. Let's work together and let's share ideas. That's how you become successful. So I think we're about to get a lot of really, really good and actually interesting stuff. It just sucks that there's so much collateral damage from all the other ones. It's also interesting that I think Peacemaker is still moving on. They're keeping that.
Yeah, that was a good show.
Yeah, but I mean, that's also directly tied to everything that came before as well. I mean, the Justice League showed up at the end of the movie.
Or the series. Well, they had like a brief cameo, but it was just black silhouettes. They didn't actually show them.
Yeah, well, other than the Flash, which hopefully.
I mean, they didn't show anybody's face. Everybody was blacked out. It was.
They showed the Flash.
They did not show his face. Like they were all standing there, and he's like, oh, now you fuckers show up or whatever. I mean, it's still salvageable. Like that little cameo doesn't ruin like the continuity. That they could still keep the show going and reboot at the same time. It'd be a little different if it was like, I mean, kind of a bad example, like Agents of Shields, where they were like always make a reference to something But they
Yeah,
like they didn't like reference anything at all in Peacemaker except for that last little bit at the end.
yeah. Apparently, I'm looking at uh images. Jason Momoa was there also.
They had the
It,
silhouette of him and Superman and Flash, and I'm just like, oh, okay. They're just floating there. It's like, okay.
they did close-ups on their faces of just the Flash and uh fucking what's the stupid guy's name? Uh Aquaman. Everyone else was silhouettes, but they did a little close-up reaction shot. I don't think they actually talked or anything.
No, they didn't talk. They just kind of stared at him.
Yeah. But anyways, uh yeah, I don't know. It's a bummer, but it had to be done. There's no way they probably could have salvaged it if they wanted to do like a Flashpoint with a Flash, which I think is what they were originally going to do.
Yeah, 2 years ago,
They're-
but it never got released.
well, I mean, that's what they've been retrofitting it to do. But
Uh, it's
it,
just,
I don't
yeah.
know. I think it also is stupid because it's like just I know they have to release these movies, but it's like 2023 is just a dead year. It's just like a graveyard of DC. There are 4 DC movies coming out next year, and none of them have anything to do with anything. They're just going to be coming out, and you're going to be like, no one's going to watch them because they already know that this universe doesn't matter, and they're probably not going to be good because none of them have been.
Just bring us the Batgirl movie. Like, apparently that movie wasn't terrible, and we got to see Brendan Fraser and Michael Keaton.
Did you hear that they were making a Batman Beyond movie with Michael Keaton? That
They
was the
they
next.
were they were writing the script for it, and then obviously they decided to scrap it, and it's just like, can y'all not do anything right?
Yeah, they didn't know. They've had so much bipolar.
It's
Just
it's insane. I'm just like, man, y'all had like ideas and just y'all just scrap them. It's like, I don't know how nutless monkeys have been running Warner Brothers for the past 50 years. It's just like nothing good has come of it.
so there's I'm looking here. We got a Flash movie coming. We have the Shazam movie coming out.
The
The
second one, yeah.
Flash movie coming out finally. A Blue Beetle movie is coming out. An Aquaman movie is coming out. There's a Penguin TV show, and then there's the Joker movie coming out. Joker 2.
Yeah, they were gonna have a Constantine TV show, and then they decided to scrap that.
But I think James Gunn's Blue Beetle, like, or James Gunn is promoting the Blue Beetle one. So I'm wondering if that's going to be like a start to the universe, or what is happening.
Well, that's the thing, we don't know, like, because with Marvel and Kevin Feige, they have phases, and they'll like announce the phases of their next 10 movies and shows that they're going to be doing over the next 4 years. But
Yeah.
James Gunn and Safran, they just got there, so I think they're still trying to figure out what their phase is. Because right now we don't know. We just know they want to reboot, and they're getting rid of everything. And this is Aquaman. Jason Momoa is going to be. This is it. Aquaman 2 is like the last film, and now they're just kind of bouncing ideas at this point.
The rumor is that they're announcing to the higher ups at Warner Brothers this week on what their slate is going to be for the next 10 years. And then, or maybe like their first phase or so, like that. And then next year, at the beginning of next year, they're going to announce a couple of those movies, which is also weird because they're like, hey, here's phase 1. And it's like Aquaman's coming out, all these movies. I forgot. I'm looking at website. I forgot that they had already announced Constantine 2.
Yeah, the
That was
movie.
announced. That's probably not coming out.
I think they said they're still going to go through with it, but they said the TV show that they were working on, I guess that was going to complement the movie, is not going to happen. Because they did say they're bringing Keanu Reeves back for Constantine too, but they did. I guess because we talked about this in the past. If the Black Adam movie doesn't do well, it's going to determine their future projects. And when Black Adam came out and the numbers weren't so great, they're like, all right, well, that was our answer. We're going to start scrapping a bunch of projects that we were potentially going to work on. And Constantine, the TV show, was one of them. So they're like, well, scrapping that.
This list is so fucking sad. It's just there's a Tana film that was
Yep,
announced.
that got scrapped.
There's Batman 2, The Joker, Legion of Superheroes, animated film. There's the Penguin show. Yeah,
They might still do the animated. They kind of keep doing those.
I don't know.
But yeah, this is literally what we were saying. They're like depending because like everything's riding on the Black Adam movie. Like if it does well, they're gonna fund future projects. If it doesn't do well, they're gonna continue scrapping projects. And here we are.
I could have told you that was going to be bad from the jump.
We already knew, but we still needed to wait and see.
Yeah. Well, good for Henry Cavill for going into something he actually likes, and it's kind of nice because, like, I don't know if you saw his Instagram posts, but he said, like, I've over the last 23 years, I've gotten the experience, understanding how like cinematic universe should work and all that stuff. So I think he's just like, yeah, I'm just not gonna do what DC did. I learned over the last,
Everyone
decade.
knows not to do what DC did.
No, but he was probably in a lot of those, meetings because they're like, oh, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this.
We're gonna have some monkeys fall from the clouds, and then they're gonna like attack people, and it's like what?
Yeah. So I bet he's like, all right, now I've seen it both ways. I've seen Marvel do stuff. I've seen DC do stuff. Well, I'm gonna make we're gonna go in a timeline fashion, kind of plan out what we're gonna do. We're gonna do this Warhammer story, TV show, then go into this, then go into this.
Let's
I mean,
actually put some thought into what we're doing instead of just whatever sticks in our brains.
yeah, I think it's gonna be really good, and I'm very, very excited, very, very excited for that, um, for sure. So good for Henry Cavill.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what comes of this. I wonder how long it's going to take. I mean, because he's going to have the funding with the Amazon money.
Yeah.
I wonder how long it's going to take to flesh it out and get it going. I wonder if maybe he already has an idea because I'm assuming he's read the books. I'm sure he has like a good understanding of how the story should be set up.
Yeah, he plays the game.
Yeah.
He's constantly painting shit. He reads the books. He said he's been playing it for 30 years. That's what
Then he said he knows exactly what he's like. If I had money, this is how I would do it.
Yeah, I think he's gonna play like the Emperor, and I bet they're gonna do the Horse Heresy series first, or they could do, I don't know, I don't know everything about it, but there's a lot of different ways they could go, and I think it's gonna be so
Yep.
good.
Amazon is like, yep, please make us more money. Like we are already dominating with the boys. We had the Lord of the Rings show.
That sucked though.
What, the Lord of the Rings?
Yeah,
I didn't mind it. It wasn't terrible for me.
they didn't really have a lot to go on though because they didn't have the rights to anything that was in Peter Jackson's story really.
That's why they kept
Or
saying Harfoots.
yeah, they didn't have anything in the they all they had to work with was what was in the Silmarillion, which is like a couple ages before, and they were like they couldn't bring up certain characters. They're just like, all right, you guys are just it's like it's almost like a game. It's like what's that game? We have like a word on a card, but you can't say it, but everyone has to guess what.
Pictionary?
No, you have to you say the words around it, and they have to guess what the word or phrase is. I don't. So they're like they have the word hobbit, and they're like little people, pigs,
Ah,
big feet, and like they're just trying to get you to
literally
associate.
just said Pictionary.
Yeah, they're trying to get you to associate with hobbits, but they can't say the word hobbit.
That's why they say Harfoots.
Yeah.
You're just like, okay, whatever. But yeah, good on that. Good on them. We'll see what happens. Marvel has a great formula. They're still fine tuning it. There's still stuff Marvel needs to work on, but for the most part, they have it down. They just need to change a few things, but yeah,
It's been a weak
yeah.
phase this time. I think they've been just churning out a lot of mid-tier garbage, honestly. I think they
Well,
need to slow down and make them events again instead of like, oh, here's a Marvel movie every week.
Marvel movie every week, dude. If only.
I mean, how many TV shows did we get? And they all came out one episode a week. So it was pretty much that, honestly. This is a lot of garbage. So I think they should definitely slow down and, quality over quantity sort of situation, which I think they've said that they were going to be doing. So
Oh my goodness. Every time we talk about DC or Marvel, just stuff, man.
Yeah. Yep. Stuff.
What switching gears, one of the topics I wanted to bring up was the Pornhub statistic that they released for their 2022 year in review,
Hmm.
or year in review of like the most searched terms and whatnot, which I found interesting, slightly comical, but also pretty interesting. I believe for the longest time, one of the most searched terms on a Pornhub was like hentai, and they said for 2022 it was actually beaten by lesbian in terms of like search terms, which I thought was pretty interesting. It's like lesbian, hentai, ebony, Latina, and Asian are honestly being, at the bottom, which is interesting.
Hmm.
I don't know what it is about the cartoon stuff that people like more than just the Asian women themselves. I don't know.
I don't look up either of those
I've
two.
never seen a porn.
Yeah, I don't know what.
They said, well, I'm just kind of looking at the statistics they have pulled up here. They said the top trending searches was gamer girl, which makes sense.
Yeah.
And then I think the next one was trans gender girl, I believe. And then the third was thick Latina. Thick Latina is always going to be a category. The next one was reverse cuckold. Okay.
Interesting.
Is that, wait a minute. So is reverse, does that mean like the woman catches the man cheating?
I would assume
Because
so.
cuckold is where the husband is catching the wife and watching the wife.
Yeah, maybe it's the opposite. I don't know.
I've never looked up reverse cuckold, so that's interesting. And then apparently, this was also surprising. The last one that was trending was solo male masturbation. Really?
Yeah, I wonder if that's like either women have been watching porn more, or if that's like, I don't know. That strikes me as like I'm gonna probably make a lot of people mad, but like an incel style. I
Well,
don't know why.
from women that I've talked to, they don't really care about seeing guys jerking off. That might be more of maybe it's a gay guy thing. Because
I honestly think that's why lesbian is
yeah, look, I mean, women prefer lesbian porn. They like seeing other women. It's from every girl I've ever talked to. So I'm just curious on why solo male masturbation was like the fifth top trending search.
I don't know.
I've never who
Not
I'm
any.
just
I don't need to search for that. It's
right. Do you remember back in the day whenever you used to like hop into, again, this is probably like when we were middle school, when we would like, internet was still kind of a new thing and there were chat rooms were everywhere. And then once they introduced like video chat rooms, you would like scroll through like different people to talk to, and there would always be like random dudes just jacking off.
You're talking about like what's that? It's like chat roulette or whatever.
Yeah, something like that. I forget. And you would just like, yeah, you would just keep like scrolling through, and it would always be some dude jacking off. I'm like, who wants this?
Honestly, I only used it maybe twice, but I stopped using it because I was scared of that.
Yeah, you're like, I don't want to see some random dude jerking it. So here we are, 20 years later, and it's like an actual like searched thing. And I'm like, who wants this? Who's that for?
Yeah, the internet kind of terrifies me already, and I don't like to be visible in any capacity. I hate, people talking at me in video games, and those are, several layers of identity hidden. I don't know, hiding your
Hmm.
identity. So yeah, being on something like that where people can see me directly, I hate it. Never been for me.
And to kind of clarify, these are the ones I'm reading right now. There's more at the bottom. These are the most searched terms in the United States. I know different countries have different flavors, but United States, this is kind of what we've been looking up apparently. They said from top to bottom, the most viewed categories was ebony, okay, lesbian, threesome, transgender, and then MILF. MILF's at the bottom. That's wow. Usually
I
be
mean,
higher up there.
like those five kind of makes sense in this day and age. Like I don't know if the order makes sense, but I feel like those are the main.
Yeah, I'm definitely noticing a trend of transgender of just trans anything is like slowly been like becoming more and more of a search term.
I wonder if that's just because it's constantly in the uh like in the news for like transgender bans, transgender this, that, fear mongering, whatever.
Not a clue. They said compared US compared to other countries of the world, we like to view virtual reality, Asian, college, threesome, MILF. These categories make sense except for virtual reality. I've never looked up virtual reality.
I have. It's not fun.
Is it 3D models or is it like real people like acting? Like how does that work?
Well, I don't have a 3D anything.
Yeah.
So the one time I was curious, I had to use a phone, and it splits the view into two different images, and then it's like
Oh.
AR, so you can move it around and it moves the camera. But
Oh, okay.
I couldn't get it to work because obviously I don't have a headset. I'm using my phone, so it was just like all over the place. And I was like, you know what, this is not. You have to like block out all the light. It just didn't
Yeah.
work. It didn't
I
work.
don't I don't mess with it. Virtual reality, I don't invest because that's like expensive stuff. I don't know if the technology is quite there yet for me to be interested in. But I imagine wearing that so you're supposed to jerk off while looking around with this big ass thing on your head, and I assume it makes you dizzy or gives you motion sickness if you're not used to using virtual reality.
Yeah. Well, me personally, I get pretty dizzy with VR, but I mean, usually, or at least for the one that I saw, you're like sitting down, like you don't move. Everything moves around you.
Oh, you just turn your head.
Yeah.
Oh,
Actually,
okay.
it's really funny to me. I just picture like a guy in like a full like VR like GoPro headset helmet on. It's this guy.
Can you imagine like, and this is probably for like the teenagers, like your parents walk in and like you can't close your laptop real quick because you like your pants are down and you've got this big ass thing strapped to your head. So it's like I'm playing Fortnite and it's like no, I hear moaning coming out of the headset like that's not Fortnite. There's no quick getaway is what I'm saying. If someone walks in, you've got like a fucking VR headset like in mid porn.
Nope. It's just too much risk.
Yeah, bump all that. Most search terms: United States, lesbian, hentai, ebony, Latina, Asian. Yeah, furry was at the bottom. Surprisingly, I thought
Well,
furry would have been higher.
oh, I don't. That's not a surprise to me.
Now, one of the biggest things I'm most interested in is the the
Okay.
the map of the United States. Have you seen that?
Yes, it's vaguely. I didn't look too hard on.
I mean, I'm just looking like, okay, so apparently in terms of like the most like searched thing or the most searched word in each state was kind of tickling me. Apparently Texas has mainly been searching panties. That's an interesting
I can
search.
kind of see it's a very conservative state. So we don't get
Well,
any.
yeah.
We don't have like fucking something crazy like
Oh,
I don't know.
there's some crazy ones up here.
I know the same
Just
Texas.
like
It's
when I think panties, I'm thinking of like lingerie, like Victoria's Secret or something see-through. And to me, yeah, that's sexy. Having a little something that's like not too revealing, but slightly revealing, leaves your imagination to run wild a little bit. That is pretty attractive. So like the most searched thing in Washington was fleshlight.
yeah.
What it so so a pocket pussy. So people like want to see a dude using a pocket pussy? Like that's the category?
I don't know,
That
man.
like of all the things to search, but
Should
apparently
probably a explicit warning at the top of this show.
hey, wait, man. Podcast is uncensored.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, these are just words we're looking up.
I like how Utah, their word was Mormon. That's a good.
Yeah, the state of Utah, like the number one thing they looked up on Pornhub was Mormon. So I'm like, that's on the nose. Colorado, they mostly looked up goth. Interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird ones on here,
Yeah,
honestly.
Montana, they mostly looked up leather.
My
Okay,
favorite two are uh, Alaska looking up breast expansion.
that's such a weird thing to look up. Not breast expansion.
Yeah. Well, there's not a lot of people up there. That's probably like two people.
What? So what does that mean? Expansion?
I don't
What
know.
what does that? Are they like inflating during sex? Like what does that mean? Expansion?
Yeah, there definitely that's interesting. And then I like the idea of Maine looking up anime. I just picture someone in a lighthouse, like looking over the ocean, being like, "Wow, this is so beautiful," and then getting on their phone and typing anime
Yeah,
porn.
yeah. California was pretty predictable. They just looked up Asian. Okay, that's fine. Arizona mainly looked up shower. Cool. As a shock to no one, I guess. New Mexico, they mainly looked up Latina. That makes sense.
Hmm.
But apparently, Oklahoma is really big into anime, and Kansas is big into hentai. So what's the difference when you look up porn? I know what hentai is. What would you pull up during anime? Would that not be the same thing?
Maybe they don't know the word.
There you go. That's a good point. Maybe they don't know the word hentai, so they just keep looking up anime. I want to find some anime porn. I'm like, that. Well, that would be hentai. But what's some other ones? Nebraska just mainly looked up the word rub. Rub what? Rub crotch? Rub breast? Ass? What does that mean? Rub.
They were looking up brisket rub. It was just the wrong website.
So when they say look up rub, do they mean like massage? Because Missouri, that's what they looked up. Missouri's most searched word was massage. That makes sense. What is rub? Isn't that like the same thing again, or what is a rub porn?
I don't know, man. You're gonna have to look this up later, I guess.
Wisconsin, man, what's up, Wisconsin? Y'all mainly looked up pegging.
Wow.
It's like I'm looking at all the states and nobody else looked that up except for Wisconsin.
No, you have strap-ons in Tennessee.
Hey, that's different. Strap on that could be more of a lesbian thing too sometimes. But pegging is like specific.
Are they not the same thing? I don't know.
Illinois would be dirty talk. Okay, so here's the one that was really getting me. Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, pretty much the bottom southern racist states all looked up black.
Yep.
And I'm like, that makes so much sense. You racist assholes, like, because black people are just taboo and evil, like secretly, y'all hate us, but at the same time, secretly, you want to masturbate to us.
I mean, you could see that trend with having trans girl be number 2 in trending searches, but America is very against that as far as like the laws and like everything going on society wise. But yet there it is.
Yep. I was like,
Plus,
that really doesn't surprise me. You racist assholes love looking up black people for porn.
yeah.
Can't be friends with them in public, but man, seeing a naked black woman, that's what does it for you. Alabama loves BBWs. I respect that. I think they're the only ones up here who like big women.
There's New Hampshire looked up Ebony BBW.
Ooh, see, specific. Okay. I know people have been giving these people shit. Pennsylvania has mainly been looking up hairy pussy. Mm-hmm. To me, it's not a big deal, but I know some people are just like, whatever. Here's one that's interesting to me. Virginia, they mainly looked up smoking.
Yeah.
So do you just smoke during sex, or what is that? You smoke a cigarette while having sex?
I don't know, man.
I mean, I guess you could. There's nothing preventing you from doing that, but just like, why would you? Like, you got to focus on your breathing when you're getting your strokes on. You over here trying to kill your lungs? and trying to get some strokes in. What's going on?
I don't know, man. I think you can make a fetish out of almost anything, and maybe that's just one of them. I really don't know.
Yeah, Tennessee looked up strap on. Kentucky was mainly about stepmom, so go Kentucky. The only two states I see, Indiana and Oregon, those were the only two that was mainly looking up furry. So that's interesting, I guess. Oh, I just found an outlier. South Carolina has mainly been looking up gilfs. Y'all like some grandmas down there.
Wow.
Okay, interesting. Florida has mainly been looking up BBC. So I guess if I ever had to move anywhere, move to Florida.
Yeah, I think the most interesting thing about this when you sent it to me was the graph under that, which has the top 200 countries by traffic.
Oh, the top 20 countries, yeah.
Up to, yeah, 20 countries. You have United States number 1, United Kingdom number 2, and United States has at least, it looks like, almost 2 times or 3 times as many as much traffic as the United Kingdom, the second most.
Yeah.
Which is
yeah.
insane. Like far and away the most porn by a lot.
Yeah, United States has the most traffic of all the countries when it comes to porn. We just, for some reason, we love us some porn over here.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not a good thing.
That's not a good thing.
I'm totally fine with porn and sex workers and all of that. I'm just saying, like, this is the fact that ours is so much higher. Maybe there's
by a long shot. We're blowing all the other countries out of the water when it comes to watching porn. It looks like Belgium is at the very bottom, and pretty much Sweden and Belgium are at the very bottom. I guess there's not into that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's yeah, that's a bad. That's
that's a bad.
I think there's
shame.
We could glean from our current American society as opposed to a lot of these other ones. Maybe it's part of like that incel movement or whatever. But who knows? But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't mind if it was still number 1, but a little less extreme, like a little less of a gap between the second and the first. But
yeah, just we're blowing all the other countries out of the water with how much we stream porn. I honestly think it's because our internet's probably better than some of these countries on the list. Ironically enough, Korea is not on this list because they have much better internet than we do.
I don't think it has anything to do with the internet. I think it has to do about the psychology of the society.
Yeah, probably.
we're a very conservative country, very, very, very conservative country, especially compared to a lot of these other ones. I mean, you have like Egypt down here, fine, and stuff like that. But I think we're bigger. We have a higher population. We are a very repressed country. Same with mental health. We don't really like to talk about things, and sex is a big no-no for us. Like, we don't really do like a lot of rated R erotic sex scenes in like movies anymore.
Yeah.
Like a lot of other countries, that's just kind of normal. And it really doesn't even make a movie rated R. But here it's like that's a no-no.
Yeah. We've brought that up before with the
way we
the way we view the way we view sex and the way we view murder is backwards compared to other countries.
Yes, 100%.
It's like, so we can have a bunch of murder in a movie and a bunch of people dying and getting their heads chopped off, and we're fine with that. But as soon as someone shows a nipple, we're like, that's too far. And then other countries, they have it backwards. They're like, hey, being naked and having sex is normal. Murder should not be shown in movies. That's not a good thing.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think that's it. Very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and these statistics go like way in depth, especially with other countries, but I'm just looking at the highlights of just like United States, but it's interesting to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
So, everyone at home who saw this map, or maybe I called out one of your states, do with this information what you will.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Well, enough of the Pornhub. The last thing I wanted to bring up, bring down the fun. This website I've kind of been keeping my eye on called 4dayweek.com. And the title is essentially self-explanatory. This nonprofit organization has been essentially running this test all over the world, mostly in the UK. They've done some in North America and Ireland, but they've pretty much got a bunch of different companies to hop on board and run a 6-month experiment. The 6-month experiment, of course, is having your employees work 4 days a week instead of 5. They're going to release the results of this test, I believe, next year. But if you just go to the website now and kind of browse around, they said they've had a lot of success. I think when I saw an interview with I don't know if it was the CEO of this nonprofit or something, but he was saying like, yeah, we've had like a 97% success rate in the UK, and the jobs, went from healthcare to nursing homes to like a mechanic shop or a 5-star restaurant, call center, all these different types of jobs. They were able to implement a 4-day work week and give everybody 3 days off. And their system doesn't do the 410s like we do here in America sometimes. Sometimes like, hey, you got to have your 40 hours, you got to work, 410s. No, they actually worked 8 hours a day, 4 days a week, and just did 32 hours. And the businesses ran fine, if not better. Now, they kind of go into it on the website about how they do this. It's not as simple as just cutting off the 5th day, because then nothing would change. And yeah, you would lose productivity. But what they did was they did small changes on the systemic level. That being said, like, less, company meetings, more time to work and less talking on the phone, less emails. They just little tweaks. And they also, obviously change your metrics of, how many tickets you need to get done or whatever. That way you could condense all your work into 8 hours for 4 days and then just, have a 3-day weekend. And it's been working wonders for the people who've been doing it. Let's see, 78% of the employees are happier because they have that extra day to like go do stuff and not have to rush on the weekend. Brian, have you ever worked 4 days before with any companies?
No.
I have. It was 410s, and personally, it worked great for me because having that 3rd day does wonders. Like, you're not being so rushed to get shit done on your off time, and you can pursue hobbies. Or if you have like a class that you do once a week, like I think you do kickboxing, it gives you time, or you practice with a band, something. You're not rushing to do that all in one weekend like everyone else who has to like rush and buy groceries and pay bills. And then when it's, Sunday comes, they just have that one day to relax, and they have to go back into the grind of 5 days. Because, part of the problem is also spending an hour in traffic to and from work every day. So you're not really working 8 hours a day. You're working like 10, sometimes 11, if you're including the drive. But yeah, any job that I've had where I had to work 410s, just having that 3rd day did so much. I was able to do much and go out and experience life more. So the fact that they're running this experiment with 32 hours, because they say their goal is to get everybody on board doing the 32 hours, 4 days a week. And then the next step, if it succeeds, push the extra 8 hours of 40 to be considered overtime. Not any, so like here, anything past 40 is overtime, but they want to kind of change the norm over there and say, hey, anything past 32 will be considered overtime if you want.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, I love this whole business model because they cater themselves to every business differently. They pretty much say, hey, get in contact with us. What is your business? And they look at how they've been running it and they say, okay, because they treat everybody differently. And like, okay, how can we tweak this to where you can work you have your employees work 32 hours, maybe some people Monday through Thursday, some people Tuesday through Friday, however you want to split it up. And that way people aren't getting burnt out. They're not getting stressed out. And now they're staying at their jobs longer because they don't want to quit, because now they can kind of breathe and have that 3rd day.
They can enjoy their job.
Yeah, I mean, personal experience, yeah, it did wonders. Having that extra day did wonders. I didn't have to stress so much.
Yeah, it never made sense to me anyway. I mean, it makes sense to me. The original idea of, or at least from my understanding, the original idea of a 5-day work week was because in a nuclear family back in the, I guess when we started this, I don't know, 50s or whatever,
Yeah,
40s, 20s, I don't know. Um, the idea was that the man would go to work and the woman would stay home and do all the chores. So the man could work longer from 8 to 5 or whatever, and then the woman could do all the chores and he could come home and know that everything's done and whatever. The world's not like that anymore. We don't
yeah,
have that sort of time. Everything works on a 9 to 5 schedule. So if you want to go to the doctor, you have to take time off, which is time that you should be using for actual rest.
yes,
But instead, you have to take vacation time or our rest time to do errands, which you can't do any other time because we work so much, and the entire world works, or the entire country works on this sort of schedule. And yeah, we're still going by the old archaic way of 9 to 5, expecting us to be able to do everything else in society when it's not possible. It's not feasible.
yeah. I think because you've got the rich, greedy CEOs here in America who would never allow this to happen because they're fucking greedy and stupid. I think you had Elon Musk tweet a while back saying, "Yeah, if you want to like run a successful business, you have to work 50 to 60 hours a week." You know, that's his opinion, which is why he made everybody come back. With Tesla and Twitter, everyone has to be back in the office. Nobody can work from home. You got to be doing 40, 50s. Because, even at Twitter, the people who haven't been fired, some of them have been sleeping in the office because he's been overworking them.
And I think that's the rule. It's not, if you want to have a successful business, you have to work, 50 to 60 hours a week. He's saying, if I want to have a successful business, you have to work
Yeah.
50, 60 hours.
Yes, make me rich. That is how America works. And it's like, well, we're sick of that. We're sick of that bullshit model.
Yeah.
And it's actually not necessary to work 50, 60 hours a week. Like, companies will tell you need to do that so it can make them money, but you really don't need to do that. A lot of jobs, you don't need that amount of time to be working there. Like they said, for some of the office jobs that this organization has worked with, one of the systematic things they implemented to cut people down to 4 days is they said for people who work in the office, some companies, we had the employees come in and the first 2 hours of when they show up to work, they just sit on the computer and they work. They don't answer their phone. They don't check their email. They just crunch and work the first 2 hours because they can get most of their job done in 2 hours. After that, then they'll check their emails and whatnot and catch up on, some other stuff. And they also said they encourage companies to cut out these long ass hour-long meetings that don't go anywhere. Because I don't know about you, but at my job, we sit in a lot of meetings.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's just so much talking and sitting there. I mean, some stuff is important, but at the same time, a lot of the stuff y'all could just comprise in an email, send it out. We'll read it when we have a minute. But if having everyone get on a call in a big ass meeting and have multiple of those every day, I'm like, that's how many hours are we wasting every day just sitting there, looking at a screen or just talking. It's like, there's got to be a more efficient way to do that, which is what this company proposed. They're like, hey, cut your meetings down. Stop doing that. Get to the point. Send an email. It's not as necessary as you think. Not everything needs to be an hour-long meeting unless it's super, super, super important.
Every single study that comes out about as far as office work goes shows that people only work, like a third of the time at their job. Like they only need, 4 hours or 2 hours of work a day to do their job. But we have to sit there for 8 hours when so many other things we should be doing.
Yeah.
Could be.
And a lot of people who work in offices will admit, they're like, yeah, half of my job in the office is just like hiding. So nobody will like ask me to do anything. Nobody will ask me to do any work. Half your job is just pretending you're doing something on your computer because most of your work can be done in about a couple hours. So you have 6 hours to kill, pretend like you're doing something. So your boss doesn't come over and say, hey, what are you doing? Which is really stupid. It's really stupid that people feel like that's that's what you have to do in an office setting. You got to kind of keep your head down and don't bring too much attention to yourself because you don't want to make it look like you're not doing anything, but you aren't doing anything because you got all your shit done. Like, so you're literally just trying to, yeah. And another systematic thing they implemented is, hey, let people work from home because they can get their stuff done faster because they're not being worried about being micromanaged. A big problem people have in offices is you're sitting at your desk, someone comes up and says, hey, I need to ask you a question on something. And you're like, cool. You can answer their question in about 2 minutes, but 2 minutes always turns into a 20-minute conversation because you start with the question, you give them an answer, and then 20 minutes later, you guys are talking about movies or you're talking about your kids or you're talking about what you're going to do for this weekend. And you've just wasted like half an hour that you could have been using working. And it's just like, there's a lot of wasted time at office jobs that it's just not efficient. So again, a lot of small systematic changes that you can make. People can get their work done and not be bothered and then have a three-day weekend. It's like, it's always been possible. This like isn't news, but
I often wonder if it's obviously we're speaking from an American standpoint, where we work extremely hard, and I think I've brought up before. It's like maybe not on the podcast, but how it's interesting how when we introduce ourselves, we ask each other, what do we do? Usually
right.
over, career, like what do we do career wise? Like our position is the most important identifier for us and
Yeah.
how we identify each other, which I think is terrible.
Yeah. That doesn't
Not,
define you, but that's what we always ask people. What do you
but
do?
but I also think I often wonder if making us stick with this, 5 days a week, 40-hour work week, you have to come in the office, is their way of keeping us, the working class down, from actually achieving or doing anything, thinking about, hey, these things can change. So
Oh,
everyone's too
definitely.
tired to do anything. And we can do our work in this amount of time, but we have 6 hours to pretend like we're working. So what do? We're not planning on like how we can reform, these laws or how we should be able to, get better pay. We're thinking about like, oh, let's click on these random links and look at this training video, like useless bullshit.
Yeah.
And then you go home and you're so tired from the traffic, and everything, that you go home, you sit at home and you just watch TV instead of doing anything or like
Yeah. Because
doing
your whole day
anything.
has been wasted now.
Yeah, your whole day is wasted. You don't get time to actually try to do anything better for yourself. I mean, if you do, it's like 2 hours.
Yeah. And then you got to go to sleep and do it again the next day.
Yeah, you don't actually get time to focus and do the things you need to do that you want to do, that would make you, improve your life or make you better or make anyone else's life better.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say a lot of the rich, greedy CEOs here in America that will never adapt to this 4-day work week, they're like, yeah, that can be a European thing. That'll never work here. It's already been proven to work. Many things have been proven to work, and CEOs, they keep making excuses to not do it. But part of it is old white men who just refuse. They don't like change. They're like, nope, this is how I've always done it. I'm not changing. It's got to be like this. I don't want you guys getting any ideas. They don't like change. At the same time, it's also Brian's point of like, yeah, systematically, they're mentally trying to keep us down, keep us working. So we don't want to focus on other things, like having time to open up your own business, because then you'll leave. Then they got to find someone else to replace you.
This whole society works on churning workers in and out of jobs.
Which, yeah, that's why the public education system is a failure, because it doesn't teach you how to think for yourself or how to run a business or how to buy a house. It teaches you how to clock in and work.
Yeah, we need to look at the numbers. How many people are passing this test that we give at the end of the year?
Yeah, a stupid test that doesn't matter.
Yeah, that test determine if you're not passing it, then we get less money from the state.
Yep.
So it's not about like what you're learning. It's another quality over quantity situation. It's make sure these people pass. If they don't pass, we don't get money. This particular school won't get money in the district, and the district won't get money. That means we can't pay. We pay the teachers nothing, but the school, the state doesn't get anything. The city leaders don't get anything. So we need to churn out these kids to make sure that they're passing tests, so we look like we're teaching them something. when everything is taught to a test that doesn't matter. Yeah, it's all bullshit and it's all terrible.
Our entire infrastructure in America, our entire system of doing things is outdated and it's bad and it's wrong. And there are so many things we could do to change it. But because people are so resistant to change and so many people are greedy and corporate like overlords, like, nope, we're going to get with the politicians and pass this law. So you can't do that. It's like, there's so many things we could do. Education system is like a whole separate argument, but yes, that the whole education system needs to get revamped. Like, there's so many things we could do, but people are too, greedy to let that happen.
Yeah, and we're also brainwashed. We're so tired of working and doing all this bullshit that we go home and we watch TV and like, what are the most popular shows?
Real Housewives,
Bullshit drama shows about celebrities,
reality TV. Yep.
We are entertained by rich people doing dumb things. So then later when our brain is, focused and we're not malleable, not exhausted, just watching whatever, people are like, we need to, whatever, eat the rich. We need to focus on changing the reform. But we're like, well, all of my entertainment comes from rich people. Like, these CEOs need to be there. Look how hard they're working in Real Housewives of America, or look how hard they're working in, I don't know, not Andrew Zimmerman, but like these restaurant or Shark Tank. They're so smart. They're thinking really hard. This is what I watch for entertainment, and I get a glimpse into what their lives is, even though it's totally fictional staged stuff.
Yeah, that's not going to give you any financial education. You're just watching how they quote unquote invest their money.
Yeah, but we defend them because we think we know how it actually works. They work really hard and they earn their money because we see these staged TV shows at the end of the day showing how hard they're working.
Do you know how long people have been defending Elon Musk before people found out he's actually an idiot? It's like, oh my God, he's Tony Stark in real life. He's got the rockets and the spaceships. And it's like, if you just learn more about him personally, it's like, he's actually not that smart.
No, he just has money. But that's really
you don't have to be smart to be rich.
Yeah, you just have to be rich to appear smart.
Yeah, you just got to know how to talk to people, how to market. Because if you can get people to invest in you, there you go, you're rich. You've convinced people to invest X amount of money in whatever product or stupid business you have. And now you're going on TV like, yep, I got all this money. It's like, okay, so you have a silver tongue. You know how to convince investors. I mean, look at the Fire Fest.
But even that, if you're rich, you don't have to worry about it nearly as much because the money can just recycle itself. If you have the money, invest in stocks. The stock market year over year always goes up. It goes down some, but then it always goes back up. That money, you're just getting free money because you put money here because you had the money to do that.
Unless you blow it like the FTX guy, that's different. He blew everybody's money. But yes, you have to
do as a rich person is invest, and the whole reason. And once you invest, the money just duplicates itself. So
you get interest and you get dividends.
A poor person, you can't invest in anything. You don't have that money. You need that money for rent or utilities. So you don't get that opportunity. Yeah. So it's not that they're smart. It's just that they have the resource that they know that they can start duplicating it.
Correct.
Or putting it in an offshore account or laundering it by sending it to, another rich person, then takes that money and gives it to another rich person, then gives it to another one. It's really just not that.
Now, as a preface, anybody can invest in the stock market and make money. The problem is, like Brian was saying, with our system, you need money to do that. So as it stands right now, all of us average people can invest money in the stock market. We just have to invest very little because we don't have much. So the little amount of money we invest in the stock market, it's not really going to pay much because we don't have a lot. But when you're a rich person who can dump a couple $100,000 into, whatever company, you're going to see a much faster return or interest or dividend because you have a lump sum you can drop. Not everybody just has $200,000 they can just drop into, whatever stock they feel like may go up or go down or whatever. And that's kind of how we are right now. So we're trying to educate people to this is how you can do it. It's just going to take you a long time. And it is unfair because yes, we have the pennies to invest, but we don't have the freaking house payments to invest.
Yeah.
It
And honestly,
sucks.
a lot of it, once you get to that point, is just fake money. It's just that, I mean, you have it, but it's all digitally done.
Yeah,
Like, it's not about the actual money you have physically. It's just like, well, I have this much in stock. What is that? You know,
it's
it's
liquid.
money that goes.
Yeah.
You really paid $200, but now it's $30,000 because you made a good investment. But
Mhm.
that's fake that's fake money, you know. It's money, but it's just a number on a screen. You don't actually see that money duplicate. But if you pull it out, you have more money all of a sudden.
Yes.
And
Theoretically, you have
that's
more money. Yeah, yeah. If you pull out before, 59 and a half, 65, whatever, yeah, you get penalized. But yeah, you still get that money. Obviously, the smart thing is to leave it in there so it can grow. But yeah, that is the game. Put in, hope it goes up, and pull out if you want.
yeah, what I'm saying, it's not real money. It's
Right.
not value goes up, but the actual physical money that you put into it didn't. And that's the whole thing, is that most of these millionaires and billionaires are valued at a certain amount. That doesn't mean that's how much they actually have. That means that's what
Right.
they're
Yeah,
valued
there's a
at.
difference between your net worth and what's
The
actually in your bank
number,
account.
digital number on the computer is high. Therefore, they can take some of that digital number and put it in this digital number, this person's bank account, to make them more money, and then only for it to come back around, at a multiplied number. It's bullshit. It's all bullshit.
This is our system. This is how we do things here.
Yep.
I'm gonna leave the links for the stuff that we talked about in the description below if you guys want to check it out. Yeah, it's very interesting stuff. I'm gonna try to be optimistic. I know it won't happen. I hope that American companies will learn from this and adapt to this 4-day work week organizations like thing they have laid out. Because this company's been, they came up with the idea in 2017 and they didn't like fully implement it until about 2019 when they had like work all the kinks and all the bugs out. But they've been implementing this 4-day work week with companies all over since 2019. And now that it's 2022 is about to end, we're about to hit 2023. They now want to take it worldwide. They want to make it more than just a few companies here and there in random, countries. They want everybody to adapt to this, and they've proven that it's possible. They've been doing it for years. I really hope that there are some decent American companies who aren't greedy and say, you know what, I want my people to be happy, and I also want to maintain my wealth. Let's do this. I'm tired of people quitting my job and trying to hire and train new people. I know it's going to be a big debacle. My wife actually thinks because America is so greedy, she's like, if we do adapt it, they're probably going to change it to where they can get money. It's like, okay, you can work 32 hours, but we're going to cut your paycheck.
Yeah.
Or, they'll try to do something to nickel and dime and make it see like, see, this is why it doesn't work. It's like, it doesn't work because you changed it. You can't blame the organization. Like, you're like, all right, you want to work 4 days? Fine. That's 8 hours off your check. It's like, that's not the point at all, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. It's really interesting. My computer is about to die here shortly, but at my job, we were having an issue a couple of months back because they were like, you need to start clocking your time exactly on the dot. We had like 3 different ways that we were supposed to do it.
Yeah.
You need to take your breaks, and you need to clock in the time of those breaks, clock out when you're done. And then a couple months later, after not hearing anything about it, they came back and they're like, we're just going to get rid of the clocking in, clocking out system. We trust you. Get your work done. And it's like, why would they do that? The reason is we're working way more than 40 hours a week if we were to clock in every single minute of that time.
Yep.
But they realized they were going to have to start paying overtime because everyone I know at my company was working overtime. And they said, you know what? Don't worry about any of it. If you just you just put a mandatory 40 hours in your time card and work whatever, we trust you. If you need overtime, if it's a minute over, you got to let us know and we'll approve it. And then you can continue like working. So if you get a call right near the end of work, you have to get it approved by a manager. No one's going to do that.
Do you see how stupid people are? They came up with this brilliant idea like, oh man, we're going to micromanage the shit out of your time so we can nickel and dime you guys. And they did that and they're like, oh, they're actually working more. Oh, uh-oh. Hey guys, never mind. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, we're being cool, but really what we're doing is making it where we don't have to pay you.
Yeah. Companies don't care about you people. I understand that. I don't care what job you have. I don't care how many times they say thank you. Jobs don't care about you. You are a number. Yeah. You are a gear in a machine. That's it.
Yeah, they will replace you
in a heartbeat.
You've been there 20 minutes, 20 years.
Yeah. They don't care. Yeah.
The number goes up or down.
But you were at my wedding and my kid's birthday. You know, we had some good times over the past 15 years. But that time is over. I got to make some money. But that's a whole other tangent. Don't get attached to these jobs. Don't let them fool you. Don't let them lie to you and make you think they care about you. They care about your life and your job and your living situation.
Or
they
don't.
Family. Yeah, your family. Yeah, you know, they say that because they want you to keep working. They actually don't give a shit.
Pizza. They just feed you pizza once a month. Look at we're having a family feast.
It's like, hey, you know, at the end of the year, they're like, hey, our company's made so much money. We broke records. You know, we want to thank all the employees for working hard this past year. We made so much money, blah, 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 blah. Good job, everyone. Thank you. And everyone's like, oh, cool. Are you going to increase our health insurance? You going to give us raises? Oh, well, no, you know, times are hard. And, you know, the economy affects us too. So, we're not going to do that. We'll give you guys a pizza party. And, you know,
coming next year, so actually 3 of you are fired.
Yeah, but you still get to have a pizza party. So you made $5+ million this year as compared to last year, and all we get is a pizza party.
Yep.
And you still have to work the pizza party is just during lunch. You still have to work.
Yep. Yeah. We had a company party, and they decided to do it 3 to 7. I get off at 4.
Like, I'm not staying to hang out with you, asshole.
Stay if you want until 7 o'clock. It's like, no one wants to stay here. I'm off the clock.
Yeah, you're dead to me after 5. Oh, goodness. Well, yeah, lots of interesting topics.
Yeah, we could talk about that for a long time.
Yeah, it really bugged me. I mean, because we're all cogs in the machine, so we understand. And I've had many jobs. You've had multiple jobs. We know how things work.
Yeah.
Just educate the young people. Like, hey, don't take this shit seriously. They don't care about you. Just get your work done and leave. If you do find a company that values you and works with you and will eventually adopt this 4-day work week and cares about the work that you do, we need more jobs like that. And I don't see that happening. It can happen. I don't see it happening soon, but I hope that it does.
Yeah, maybe someday.
It'll definitely stop all this burnout people are having.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, Brian, you got any closing words for the people at home this week?
Fuck the man. Get your money, go home. Don't worry about anything else.
Fuck.
And have a wonderful masturbation session tonight. I can't.
There you have it.
Take that out.
I'm not taking that. That is gold.
Y'all have a good one, I guess.
Get money, get paid. Get home, get laid.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's way clever. Clever than what I said.
Should be a rapper, dude. Well, anyway, thank you for tuning into the Humans Talking podcast this week. Again with Brian and FRENO. Yes, stick around. Come back next week. If you have any comments any topics you want us to talk about, leave it in the comments below. We'll check it out. I'll go ahead and drop the links of the things we talked about today. And yeah, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. And we will see you guys next week. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.